Here are the top stories for today, April 8, 2020. A lawmaker is proposing for a universal basic income approach that would cover 90% of the country's population. Solcom Chief Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade is reminding the public from giving donations to communist front groups. PCOO stressed the need to give media workers equal protection, security, and benefits, especially now that the country is battling with the coronavirus disease pandemic. And the Department of Labor and Employment has adopted measures to fast-track the grant of assistance to workers affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Albay Representative Joey Salceda on Tuesday proposed a universal basic income approach that would cover 90% of the country's population. The approach proposes that all Filipinos except those in top 10% of the population would receive between 1,000 and 2,000 pesos each in emergency assistance during the Enhanced Community Quarantine or ECQ. Salceda said the cost of the basic income approach may be cheaper as it would only require 198.2 billion pesos to cover 90% of the population, while 176.2 billion pesos would be required to cover 80%. He also said that under this approach, coverage would include the middle class and would do away with the convoluted eligibilities for faster distribution and accountability. Senators on Tuesday said President Duterte's decision to extend the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine by 2 weeks is reasonable and justified. The Philippine government earlier announced that the month-long ECQ, which was originally intended until April 12, would be extended to April 30th to curb further the spread of COVID-19. Senate President Vicente Soto III said April 30 extension seems to be reasonable considering the fact that the DOH has no clear projection yet of how things are evolving. Better safe than sorry. Senator Sonny Angara, who has just recently recovered from the virus, said the 2-week quarantine extension is justified, saying that the extension will enable the testing to catch up and gauge the public health situation. Senator Francis Tolentino said we have to support the extension of the ECQ for the general welfare of society, but hand in hand with the health measures, we should now prepare for an immediate economic recovery program as a pillar of societal resuscitation. Minority Senator Risa Ontiveros also expressed her support to the quarantine extension. She says mass testing will only start on April 14 and the ECQ should be continued if we want it to be effective. In other news, Southern Luzon Command Chief Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade Jr. reminded the public from giving donations to front groups of the communist groups who might be exploiting the COVID-19 crisis to generate funds for their terrorist organizations. Southern Luzon Command Chief Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade Jr. on Sunday said that while we are trying to suppress the spread of COVID-19, let's watch out for these swindlers who are front organizations of the Communist Party of the Philippines. They have mobilized again their network to generate funds supposedly to assist communities. Bayan Muna is talking about help from Cuba and other solidarity partners that are actually good if put to appropriate use. Parlade, who is also a member of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, claimed that if donors will be fooled into giving cash into CPP front organizations, the money will go to the New People's Army and maintenance for their founding chair, Jose Maria Joma Sison, in the Netherlands. He said the CPP-NPA has already a template to maximize the situation to their advantage, as proven during the onslaught of Typhoon Pablo in Mindanao and Super Typhoon Yolanda in Leyte and Samar. Based on documents recovered from Roy Erecre, Secretary of Comiteng Rehiyon Komite sa Negros Bohol, Cebu, Siquijor, 40% of the money acquired is kept by the CPP, with the 40% going to CPP front organizations, with only 20% going to people's organizations and its beneficiaries. Despite the ideology of the CPP-NPA, Parlades said he is hoping that the terrorist group will be able to find it in their conscience to help the government in fighting this pandemic. The IATF approves the creation of a one-stop shop for securing licenses to operate and to import critical commodities amid health crisis. And the NFA warehouses will be open during Holy Week. More on these and other news around the metro from Teresa Montemayor.
The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF-EID, has approved the establishment of Bayanihan One-Stop Shop for government agencies that are responding to COVID-19 pandemic in the country. The Bayanihan One-Stop Shop will also serve as a single window for all state agencies involved in the importation of critical commodities amid COVID-19 outbreak in the country. Meanwhile, courts throughout the country will remain physically closed following the extension of the enhanced community quarantine. Despite physical closure, courts are functioning and are mandated to accept the online filing of all cases as well as petitions and posting of bail during the period of the health emergency. Justices and trial court judges, while working from home, have been directed to immediately evaluate and act on the cases filed online. In other news, the National Food Authority, or the NFA, on Tuesday assured that its offices and warehouses will remain open during the Holy Week. NFA Administrator Judy Carol Dansal said the move is to continuously serve the rice withdrawals of the DSWD and LGUs to satisfy the rice needs of their constituents. NFA warehouses will also continuously accommodate farmers and cooperatives selling their summer harvest and undertake full blast milling operations of palay stocks to maintain the ideal level of rice buffer stock. Meanwhile, the Diocese of Cubao has extended the suspension of holding of public masses until the end of the month. Cubao Bishop Honesto Onchonco said the measure is in compliance with President Duterte's approval of the extension of the enhanced community quarantine in Luzon until April 30. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Teresa Montemayor.
Still to come, PCOO stressed the need to give media workers equal protection, security, and benefits. And MINDA Secretary Emmanuel Piñol has called on Mindanaoan leaders to ease the burden of President Duterte and start boosting agricultural production to increase food supply. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Sa matinding laban natin sa Coronavirus Disease 2019, sugpuin din natin ang pagkalat ng fake news. Huwag magbahagi ng impormasyon na hindi tiyak ang pinagmulan. I-check mabuti ang source ng balita. Kumuha lamang ng impormasyon mula sa mga official channel ng Department of Health. Huwag magpadala sa maling balita, basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to. Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito. Pangalagaan ang sarili laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019 hanggat maaari umiwas sa mataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong at bibig, maging malinis sa katawan at ugaliin ang wastong paghuhugas ng kamay. Takpan ang ilong at bibig kung uubo o babahing. Umiwas sa mga taong nagpapakita ng sintomas ng coronavirus disease gaya ng lagnat, ubo at sipon. Magsuot ng face mask kung kinakailangan. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa. Kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
More news from the PNA Newsroom. The Presidential Communications Operations Office on Tuesday stressed the need to give media workers equal protection, security, and benefits, especially now that the country is battling with the coronavirus disease pandemic. PCOO Undersecretary Joel Egco renewed his call for Congress to pass the proposed Media Workers Welfare Act to help address the vulnerabilities of media workers. Egco said, despite the COVID-19 pandemic in the country, media workers continue to fulfill their mandate to raise public awareness by delivering timely and accurate news about the threat posed by the infectious disease. Egco also acknowledged the media sector's contribution to help the government fight fake news about COVID-19. Mindanao Development Authority Secretary Emmanuel Piñol has called on Mindanaoan leaders to ease the burden of President Rodrigo Duterte as the government musters all its resources to fight COVID-19. Piñol urged Mindanaoan leaders to start with boosting agricultural production to increase food supply and support relief operations. He said local governments can start adopting Minda's self-sustaining food security strategy. Part of the recommendation is for the governors and mayors to use their calamity funds or realign some of their budgets as authorized by the Bayanihan Act to support the farmers and fisherfolk in producing food. Piñol also encouraged farmers and fishermen to produce more food, especially on rice. Minda is also doing its part in ensuring that farmer products are given wider market access. The Clark Freeport launches a hotline to manage the spread of COVID-19. Meanwhile, Iloilo opens its supply lines to provide fish to communities affected by the quarantine. More on this and other news from the provinces from Chris Mundo.
A COVID-19 central hotline was launched on Tuesday that will serve towns and cities contiguous to Clark Freeport. Calls will be received and entertained by hotline operators who are capable of answering basic inquiries regarding COVID-19. This is part of the measures in Clark to help manage possible risks and threats by having medical professionals handle suspected COVID-19 cases in Pampanga and Tarlac. Meanwhile, the Tatak Kalamay group based in Negros Occidental donated thousands of liters of ethyl alcohol to Negros Oriental in response to the scarcity of the product due to the COVID-19 crisis. The borders between both provinces were temporarily opened Sunday to allow the delivery of alcohol primarily intended for frontliners. The group said this is all started in response to the call of Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, who called industry leaders to help out in Negros Island as well as in other sugar-producing provinces. In Iloilo, to ensure that towns with confirmed COVID-19 local transmission will not run out of basic necessities, the Iloilo provincial government on Tuesday re-established links for fish provision. The Department of Health has confirmed local transmission of the disease in the towns of Lambunao and Gimbal. Iloilo Governor Arthur Defensor Jr. said coastal towns in northern Iloilo, through the Northern Iloilo Alliance for Development, will supply virus-affected towns with fish. The provincial government will extend an initial capital to start the supply of fish to Lambunao. In other news, the Davao del Norte provincial government has realigned some 215.7 million pesos emergency funds to better respond to the COVID-19 crisis. The budget will be used for relief assistance, isolation rooms, personal protective equipment, hygiene kits, provisions for frontliners, and other similar supplies. As of 3 p.m. Monday, the province reported 9 COVID-19 patients who are admitted at the Davao Regional Medical Center in Tagum City. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Chris Mundo.
In our business news, the Securities and Exchange Commission is lending more support to national efforts to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. The Commission transferred a total of 2 billion pesos from its accounts to the Bureau of the Treasury to augment the government's COVID-19 war chest. The SEC has extended regulatory relief to corporations and other entities under its supervision by moving statutory deadlines and easing requirements and procedures. It has likewise sustained the delivery of services to its stakeholders, including enforcement efforts against unscrupulous members of the corporate sector. SEC Chairperson Emilio Aquino also said they have worked on strengthening the corporate sector, capital market, and investing public, which are crucial in the resilience of the economy and the Filipino people. The Commission has processed at least 2,500 applications for company registration and monitored almost 2,900 corporations since shifting to a work-from-home arrangement. Up next, NEDA says the government must be proactive in addressing supply bottlenecks and price control measures. And the Department of Labor and Employment has adopted measures to fast-track the grant of assistance to workers affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Alamin kung paano ang tamang pagsusuot ng surgical mask. Una, hawakan ang mask sa strap at siguruhing natatakpan nito ang inyong bibig at ilong. Tandaan, ang may kulay na bahagi ng mask ang dapat nasa labas. Ito lamang ang tamang paraan ng pagsuot nito. Ihulma ang nose piece o maliit na metallic strip ayon sa hugis ng inyong ilong. Iwasan ang paghawak sa inyong ilong at bibig. Kung marumi na ang mask, hubarin ito gamit ang strap at itapon ito sa isang basurahan. Siguruhin ang maayos na paghuhugas ng kamay gamit ang sabon at tubig. Ang surgical mask ay dapat gamitin ng mga pasyenteng may sakit sa baga o mga taong mayroong ubo, sipon at lagnat, mga nag-aalaga sa mga may sakit, at mga healthcare at frontline workers. Maaari ring magsuot nito kung kayo ay pupunta sa matataong lugar. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP, at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP, at ng himpilang ito. Alamin ang mga dapat gawin sa lugar ng trabaho laban sa Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ang mga kumpanya ay dapat magbigay ng face mask sa kanilang mga empleyado. Bukod dito, magbigay kaalaman din patungkol sa COVID-19. Siguraduhing malinis ang kapaligiran. Maglagay ng sabon at hand sanitizer sa mga palikuran. Siguraduhing ligtas at nalutong maigi ang mga pagkain sa kantina. Obserbahan ang kalusugan ng mga empleyado at katrabaho. Kung sakali man na mayroon silang sintomas ng coronavirus disease, gaya ng lagnat, ubot sipon at hirap sa paghinga, ay agad ipasuri sa doktor. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP, at ng himpilang ito.
The National Economic and Development Authority calls on the government to be proactive in addressing supply bottlenecks and implementing price control on necessities following the spread of coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19. Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia said these are needed to avoid possible profiteering of unscrupulous traders and retailers. The Department of Agriculture and some local government units have started buying produce directly from the farmers and distributing these through Kadiwa outlets or mobile palengke. Pernia said the Philippines should be well positioned against upward potential price pressures that may result from the tightening supply of rice from major markets. Pernia also highlighted that the government must support and assist local farmers that were negatively affected by the quarantine. The Interagency Task Force Technical Working Group for Anticipatory and Forward Planning has conducted surveys for business owners, consumers, and agriculture and fisheries sector. A report of the group will serve as a blueprint for a whole-of-government come private sector effort for the country's rapid recovery. The Department of Labor and Employment, or DOLE, on Tuesday has adopted measures to fast-track the grant of assistance to workers affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said among these measures is the relaxing of requirements from employers who are applying for COVID Adjustment Measures Program or CAMP. Any proof of payment of salaries and wages will be sufficient compliance with the requirement. Bello said DOLE field offices will continue processing establishment reports even during the Holy Week to speed up the process of assistance. Funds will be released and remitted through land bank branches and ATMs nationwide. Affected OFWs will receive 10,000 pesos worth of assistance under the DOLE Abot Kamay Ang Pagtulong program. Bello also said they are also seeking more funds for the Tupad Barangay Ko Bahay Ko for the informal sector workers and the camp, which provides a one-time 5,000 peso assistance to workers in the formal economy. In sports, the Philippine Basketball Association will be compressing its 45th season as COVID-19 continues to hamper the Philippines. A two-conference season was proposed in an online meeting conducted by the league's Board of Governors together with Commissioner Willie Marcial on Tuesday. The two-conference format, the Philippine Cup and one import spice tournament, was last used by the league in the 2009 to 2010 season. Also proposed is a single tournament format similar to the one being used in the National Basketball Association and even in the Maharlika Pilipinas Basketball League. Marcial said on Sunday that he is aiming to resume the games as early as June. The PBA board will once again convene on April 30, the last day of the extended enhanced community quarantine, to finally decide on the season format to be used. As a tribute to all frontliners facing the threat of COVID-19, the Department of Tourism has released a moving clip capturing not only these people's resilience, but their sacrifices and dedication too. The video, directed by Joel Limchok, was pieced together from user-created videos and photos already posted online and in the news media. The video, entitled Smile, features frontliners such as medical health workers, grocery and convenience store clerks, delivery men, basic services and utility crew members, and the police and military officers. Eli Buendia, who composed with a smile for the legendary band The Eraserheads, generously allowed the use of his composition, while singer and songwriter Bea Lorenzo provided the vocals. The video can be accessed at the DOT's Facebook page or on YouTube. Here's another look at today's biggest stories. A lawmaker is proposing for a universal basic income approach that would cover 90% of the country's population. Solcom Chief Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade is reminding the public from giving donations to communist front groups. PCOO stressed the need to give media workers equal protection, security, and benefits, especially now that the country is battling with the coronavirus disease pandemic. And the Department of Labor and Employment has adopted measures to fast-track the grant of assistance to workers affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. A pleasant day to all.